Did you know that the biggest shake-up in the UK property market in over 30 years is happening right now? It's called the Renters Reform Bill. It's set to change the way that landlords and tenants operate. So if you're in the property business, you need to understand how these changes are going to affect you.
Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more updates on property, investing and financial strategies. Now let's get into it. So what exactly is the Renters Reform Bill? Well, first introduced in Parliament in 2023, this legislation aims to create a fairer private rented sector by increasing tenants' rights and making significant changes to how landlords operate. The bill completed its passage through the House of Commons in January of this year and had its first readings in the House of Lords the following day. While it's still subject to amendment, experts expect it to become law by mid-2025, with potential enactment as early as late spring or summer. It's a major shake-up, and here's what it includes, along with some key workarounds for landlords. The end of Section 21, no-fault evictions. One of the biggest changes is the end of Section 21 evictions. Currently, landlords can evict tenants without giving a reason, as long as they provide 2 months' notice. Well, that's going away. Instead, landlords will need a valid reason to evict a tenant, such as rent arrears or property damage. For tenants, this means more security. You won't have to worry about being asked to leave for no reason. But for landlords, this raises concerns. Will it become harder to remove problem tenants? Well, the government says it will strengthen Section 8 rules, which allows landlords to evict tenants for specific breaches. But how effective will this really be? I guess time will tell. One way landlords might regain control is by using break clauses in contracts before the bill takes effect. If you still have time under current laws, consider reviewing and potentially issuing Section 21 notices now to retain flexibility. Another workaround could be using strategic refurbishments. If you need to carry out major renovations, this could fall under grounds for repossession, allowing a lawful way to regain the property. Introduction of periodic tenancies. Another major change is the move to periodic tenancies. Fixed-term tenancies, like the common 6 or 12-month contracts, will be scrapped. Instead, all tenancies will roll on indefinitely, unless a tenant chooses to leave or a landlord has a legal reason to evict. For tenants, this provides more flexibility. You can leave when you need to without being tied into a contract. But for landlords, it means less certainty over how long a tenant will stay, making long-term planning trickier. Landlords can still protect themselves by using short-term lets where appropriate. Renting properties on a short-term basis via serviced accommodation platforms or corporate lets could allow more control over occupancy without being locked into indefinite tenancies. Alternatively, landlords could negotiate higher initial deposits or upfront rent payments for added security, ensuring financial protection even in cases of unexpected departures. Rent increase limits and rent tribunal. Rent increases are also getting a shake-up. Under the new rules, landlords can only increase rent once per year and must give tenants at least 2 months' notice. Plus, if tenants feel like the rent hike is unfair, they'll have more power to challenge it via a tribunal. This is great for tenants who worry about sudden, unaffordable rent increases. But landlords argue it can make it harder to keep up with the rising costs like mortgage rates and property maintenance. One way landlords may work around this is by setting initial rents higher to account for future market fluctuations, especially in high demand areas. Another option is to include structured rent increases in tenancy agreements that pre-agree on rises over time. If outlined and agreed upon up front, these could be more difficult to dispute later. Pets and no DSS bans. 2 more significant changes are around pets and discrimination against tenants on benefits. Under the new bill, landlords will no longer be able to issue blanket bans on tenants having pets. Instead, they must consider pet requests reasonably, and while they can still require insurance or charge for pet-related damage, they can't outright refuse a tenant just because they have an animal. Another big shift is that landlords will no longer be able to refuse tenants simply because they're receiving benefits. The government is cracking down on no DSS policies, making it illegal to discriminate against those on universal credit or housing benefit. For pets, landlords could implement strict clauses requiring higher insurance policies or deposits, as long as they stay within the legal limits, and detailed terms for potential damage. For tenants on benefits, landlords can still conduct thorough affordability checks. If a tenant's income, including benefits, doesn't meet affordability thresholds, they can still be legally declined based on financial suitability rather than their benefit status. A new property portal and stricter landlord rules. Another big change is that landlords will have to register their properties on a new digital portal. This will ensure they're meeting legal requirements and help tenants to check if a landlord is compliant before renting from them. There will also be stricter rules around property standards. If a home doesn't meet the government's decent home standards, things like damp, insulation and general maintenance, landlords will be required to fix issues quickly. Non-compliance could mean fines or even bans from renting out properties. Landlords who operate through company structures or multiple entities may have opportunities to distribute ownership across different registrations, potentially minimising risk exposure. Additionally, staying proactive with self-imposed maintenance reviews could help landlords pass inspection easily, while potentially using government grants or tax relief for necessary improvements. The Renters Reform Bill is set to change the landscape of renting in the UK. Tenants will get more rights and protections, but landlords will need to adapt to a more regulated market. The key is preparation. Understanding the new rules, finding legal workarounds and adjusting your approach early can help minimise the risk and maximise the opportunities. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one.